Welcome to a podcast of total terror. Night of the Nerdy Laser.
Welcome, everybody, to Night of the Nerdy Laser, episode 167. I'm your host, Richard. I'm on a boat, Yule.
Yeah, you sure are. I'm Jeff Lown.
I'm not on a boat, but this movie was because it's Rec 4 from all the way back, I believe, in 2014, we're going to say?
Sounds right.
Yeah, it works.
Sounds right.
This finishes up our October month of Rec. And if you're not watching these movies, you're really missing out. We love them, or at least I do. I can't speak for Jeff too much because I don't think he likes this one, but we will talk about that. And we hope you are enjoying your spooky season, your Halloween month, and we've got a lot of bonuses happening, so hope you've been enjoying those. We covered VHS Beyond, and they just announced VHS 8, which I don't know if that's going to be the actual title or if it's just...
They should do High 8 or something on that.
I mean, yeah, you would think. I mean, yes.
But there was a
There's a movie called High 8.
High 8, yeah.
High 8.
Yeah. We're independent.
All right, so I went on a trip this past weekend.
Acid?
I went to Scarefest.
Oh, I thought it was an acid trip. My bad.
I thought you said Athens, like Greece.
No.
No acid trips for me. But I did go to Scarefest. It's in Kentucky. It's scarefestweekend.com. It's huge. I mean, I got to imagine. I mean, I think Saturday, I don't know the numbers, but there's, I mean, at least 15 to 20,000 people. I mean, on Saturday. Yeah. At least 10 to 15 on Saturday. I mean, Saturday was nuts, and Friday was nuts, and even Sunday was pretty crazy.
People just everywhere, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Saturday, if you went into the vendor hall at the wrong time, it was a bad situation. You should take a bat. But I love Scarefest. I mean, it is a lot of people, but there's a good reason. It's a great convention. I love Brandon, Adrian, and Wes. They're good people, and they're good to us. So FrankenCon was there. We were out in the lobby area across from the ticket booth, hanging out, talking to people. So FrankenConTN.com. It's the horror convention that me and Corey from Spooky Dudes puts on. So check us out. We got Michael Berryman. We got Rhonda Shear, we got Adam Caesar, and we just announced Kelly Maroney at the con. So, go over to the website. We've got some more guests to announce in the next few weeks. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's a much smaller convention. So if you don't like a lot of people, then FrankenCon is probably your place to be. But Scarefest has had over 100 celebrities. Jeff.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I wasn't even one of them.
They had Matthew Lillard, which was the biggest, even though Clive Barker was there, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
But Matthew Lillard, like they were doing like a ticket system, like, and call you up in groups. They did that 2 years ago with Robert Englund. So if that, I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, I hear he's a great guy. His photo ops are really great. And there's a whole generation that loves him. And then there's a whole generation of that generation that loves him, right? So,
Who?
England
kids or Lillard?
Yeah. I mean, Matthew Lillard. I mean, he did Scooby-Doo. And so kids grew, and that was 20 years ago. So now those kids have kids.
Yeah.
And they have Five Nights at Freddy's. And it's just it's just a spiral.
I mean, I've been following him since I could remember, like growing up, SLC Punk, stuff like that. So I mean, he's had a pretty cool career as far as like what kind of stuff he does. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you don't have to just like one. I'm sure people like more than one thing. He's been in Scream.
yeah.
Obviously, it's
13 Ghosts. I
yeah,
mean, and the Five Nights. I mean,
that's true. He also had a
So
Hackers was another good one. He was in
what?
Hackers.
Oh yeah, I never saw that movie.
It's a good one. You need to watch that.
I'm too busy watching stuff you make me watch, Jeff.
I didn't pick this movie.
Although I am, I have an hour left with Terrifier 2.
Oh, so you've watched 15 hours of it so far.
Yeah. I have 3 movies that I'm halfway through. You want to hear them? I already told you one.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot, Terrifier 2, and Smile.
Smile. That's a long one too. Longer than I remember it being. Because I
Yeah.
looked at the runtime because this last weekend Smile 2 came out. I don't know how it did. Did you see any numbers for it?
I think it was number 1 in Terrifier. I think it was number 1 with like 9 million. And
Terrifier did good. It had
Terrifier 3 was number 2 with like 2 or 3 million.
I think the first weekend for Terrifier 3 was around 15.
Yeah.
Something like that I read, which is good for an independent.
I mean, when you consider Smile didn't break 10.
Yeah. No, yeah. I know. Maybe it's that. It feels part of Smile 2 to me is that pop star thing that the girl's playing like a fake Lady Gaga almost, and it kind of reminds me of Trap. Like I don't know, it's got this. It's the same feel of like Volcano and Dante's Peak, where it's kind of the same subject matter and stuff, just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be different, but just kind of the main themes and stuff. I always think it's funny when they all come out at the same time, pop stars and whatnot.
I'm kind of enjoying Terrifier 2. I don't mind it. I mean, it's long. It's too
very
long, but I mean, I enjoy it.
I mean, I like the people in it.
I think it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it has its moments. There's some weird stuff like that happens in it, and you're like, I don't know why that was included, but whatever.
Like I don't know the end. But I mean, I feel like the little girl is just like his imaginary friend, kind of. I don't know. Maybe the end doesn't make sense, but I mean, because like they show. I do love the laundromat scene. I love that scene.
Yeah. Did you get to the scene where it's like the music video thing or whatever and all that stuff? Not the music video, but the girl playing like a banjo and all that.
Oh, the Clown Cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that as well.
It's so over the top. And it's like, I get it. But then again, that adds to the runtime of like, why was that in there and stuff?
I mean, I'm not going to crap all over the movie for the runtime because everything's too long now. But it's fine. Anyway. So Scarefest, I met. I meant to get the pictures so I could put them up here on the screen, but I'll post them on social media eventually. I met Adam Green; he was amazing, and I met Dee Wallace, and she was equally as amazing.
That's cool.
I talked to Adam for like 5 minutes, and he told me some Holliston stories when I mentioned I loved Holliston, and then yeah. He was just a really cool guy.
Be sweet if a Holliston season 3 happened, which we know it never will, but
no, it never will. And I mean, I really don't think it should now that without Odorous, like he was.
No, I get it now at this point, but
yeah, I mean, Odorous is one of my favorite. But I didn't bring him up because I just didn't want to. But
no,
I love Odorous. Like, oh, Adam, what's wrong? Like.
Just standing there naked and stuff as a big demon.
Yeah, I did bring up one of my favorite scenes in that movie or in that show. That was him and Joe in the bathtub.
Oh,
he told me pretty funny. Like all those people couldn't be there. Like on the same day, so they just
Yeah.
constantly had to do this.
Yeah.
And like over a course of like 10 days, and there was no warm water. It was just cold water in a bathtub.
Just sitting there in cold water.
And yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yep.
But no,
Look at that.
Scarefest is cool. Check it out. Yeah. And I got some show and tell, or hear and tell, or tell and tell, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And these are called Seymour's Captive Cryptids. And they're fun. They're one of my last purchases of the day. What am I going to do with them? Who knows? But they are fun to mess around with. But they're like mad balls, but they're cryptids.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
Bigfoot.
yeah, so it's Bigfoot. And then you got the Mothman.
Those are cool. Do they have any other ones?
Yeah, so these are mass produced. Like he gets these made in a factory, in like, I mean, China makes them, and but he's been there the past couple of years, or at least last year, and he was hand making them. And so he got these two because they were his most popular.
Yeah.
And made them into like factory where they're all like really nice looking, I mean, and so the handmade, he does have like, I'm trying to remember what the handmaids were now. There's one with like a horn, and I mean, and they look great, but I mean, you can definitely tell they're hand painted, So I did not. I mean, honestly, if they were all like, manufactured, I probably would have bought all of them.
Yeah.
Just to have all of them. But, I think he's going to make some more, but through the factory. But they're really cool. They're really fun. He's a nice guy. So, and he's just like one dude doing it, all himself. So, I mean, it's like, I think it's him and his wife. Let me see if I can find the website real quick so I can. God, I'm not using the Google search, so God knows what'll come up. All right, so I think he's got an Etsy store. I meant to look for I meant to look for his business card, but I couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got an Etsy store, so you can go on Etsy and just look up Captive Cryptids.
Okay.
And they're pretty cool. He's got he's got a UFO like one. He's got a Flatwoods monster, Mothman, Bigfoot, a Yeti. The Yeti's pretty awesome. The Yeti should just be it looks like the same exact mold as the Bigfoot. So that might be his next one, hopefully. And then he does masks. So he makes these really cool masks, cryptid masks. They're much more expensive. I mean, they're like, $300, but they look great. So anyway, that was my shout out to him because he was a nice guy. And over the next few weeks, I'll have more stuff that I got from there, I'm sure. So,
yeah. And for my show and tell, I don't have a thing.
Yeah, Jeff's not going to play show and tell anymore because he's.
I should just go find piles of stuff in the other room, other movies that I've bought and haven't watched. I just got this. There you go.
All right, so we're going to talk about Rec 4. So our new kind of pattern here is we'll talk a little bit about this movie and kind of the series without spoilers, heavy spoilers, and then we'll go into spoilers. But we'll give you a chance to bounce out if you haven't watched this one and don't want to know the end or don't want to know some of the details. And so if you are going to leave, then we appreciate you listening or watching, and follow us at Night of the Nerdy Laser on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So we've done this is the 4th movie in the Rec franchise.
She's back.
And the last one, really. I mean, it's been 10 years. I think the director and writer said that he's got an idea for 5, but I don't know if it'll ever happen.
I hope they don't.
Golly, did you hate this movie that much?
No, but I have a problem with stuff when a huge gap of time is in between sequels.
Well, I mean, they could. So, I mean, it could be a totally different story too. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about them naming? You know, it's Rec 2, Rec 3, Genesis, Rec 4, Apocalypse. How do you feel about the subtitles? Like, I mean, I kind of feel like they did it because Rec 1 and 2 are basically the same movie, you know?
Yeah, the subtitles
these are part of that story, but that's just a continuation.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense, you know, in the context of what the stories are, why they're named kind of the way they're named in a way. I mean, it kind of plays out throughout the movie. So, I mean, I have no problem with it. I would have been fine with it being Rec 3 and 4 by itself too, you know, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care, but it's just unique. I kind of wish Rec 2 had a set. I wish they would have just done Rec subtitle, Rex, you know, not do 3, 4, just do subtitles. Kind of, I mean, that's one of the only things I like about VHS, really.
What about it? The subtitles?
So they do VHS Viral, VHS Beyond.
Yeah, 84, 85 or whatever.
So I watched it on Tubi because I'm lazy.
Me too.
And so I never saw this poster or anything. So I had no idea what the movie was about.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I love vacation movies, Jeff, I love ship movies.
Do you?
I mean, I like Speed 2. Give them to me, and not Ghost Ship.
What was that other one? Poseidon Adventure, Poseidon or something?
Oh, I love Poseidon.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Kurt Russell one because I saw that in the theater, but I need to go back and watch the old ones.
The old one?
Yeah. I mean, well, there's more than one. I mean, well, they did one in the early 2000.
Ah.
Oh, no. What'd you do, Jeffrey?
Where'd you go?
I never go far, Jeff.
Oh, now you're gone. Never go far, but you're totally gone. So yeah, they did Poseidon Adventure with Gene Hackman in 72. Yeah. Then in 79, they did Beyond Poseidon Adventure. So they tried to remake Poseidon Adventure in 2005 as a TV movie, it looks like, with Adam Baldwin and Rutger Hauer.
Isn't Steve Guttenberg in that one?
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Have you seen that one? Oh,
I mean, I feel like I watched it at that time. I think it was on Sci-Fi or something.
Probably. It looks like a sci-fi movie. Deep Rising is another ship movie, and Ghost Ship. Yeah, no, ship movies are fun. I have no problem with them at all.
So this is a continuation from part 2. Really, I mean, so really this should have been Rec 3. Like they should have just done Rec 2, Rec 3, Rec Genesis, and then done Rec 1, 2, and 3.
Well, so what I like about this one, there's a couple things, but I like, you know, that they do incorporate the story of like 1, 2, and they do throw in parts to 3, like to tie it together. Like they don't just pretend like that didn't happen. They mention it and all that stuff. So
I mean, it's a big part.
Yeah, it is. So it's like it could really be like Rec 1 and 2 is like one movie. Then it could just be like Rec B, like Document B. You know what I mean? Because it's essentially happening at the same time. What happens in 3? As those two things, and then, you know, this could just be like Rec 2 if they really wanted to do it like that. But you know what I mean. It's they could do it so many different ways, and they do, like I said, they tie it all kind of together and how the stories are related to each other. So I like that. I think that's pretty cool because they could have just pretended like they don't exist, which sometimes it feels like that. Not so much to go into spoilers.
I don't really get that.
What?
I don't really get that they don't acknowledge it or whatever.
No. Like, I guess not the absurdity, that wouldn't be the right word. Some kind of like the craziness, I guess, in this one. It feels like the craziness in one, but just like a little bit weirder. You know what I mean? Like more cartoonish almost. Not cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to describe. But what this one reminded me a lot of was Resident Evil Extinction, I believe, the one in the desert.
I never watched that one.
Okay. Well, then I guess you wouldn't get it as much, but it feels like that with like the blood tests and like the super aggressive zombies and the just all the stuff that kind of happens in it. It kind of reminds me of that all the guys that are kind of wearing the same like security uniform that become zombies. It feels like that, but there's nothing wrong with that because I actually like most of the Resident Evil movies. Are they good? Maybe not, but like they're fun. They feel like a crazy video game, and that's what it is a video game.
Yeah. So we get a continuation from part 2, and it starts in the apartment building with another like SWAT team.
Yeah.
But they're there to like they know that there's one person alive, so they're going to extract them.
Yeah.
And then and that one person is Angela from the first 2.
Yeah. Oh, and to blow up the building, apparently.
Yeah. They set detonators all throughout it, and we never see that. So it really just cuts from there to on the ship. Like you don't get any in between stuff, or anything.
Okay.
But what are your overall feelings like about this movie? Before we get into spoilers,
I don't hate it. I mean, I think it's kind of fun. It feels like the first one, in a sense where it's still kind of the setting is kind of claustrophobic. With the ship. So I think that was cool. It feels a little not cartoony, like I said, but sort of like Resident Evil, where it gets way over the top at times, but still sort of stays grounded within itself in the story. I like that it ties all the movies kind of together and shows that they're still related and stuff like that. But I don't have no like major issues with it or anything like that. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's great. I think this is one of the best franchises around that is just solid from the first movie. I think the characters are just as good as this one as in Genesis. I like the kind of twist they do, and I just really dig the movie. Like I really think that it's just a fun, good movie, and I like so this one is not found footage. It's basically a real movie. Now we do get some security camera footage, and this isn't really a spoiler, but I love that they understand what they're doing, and so Angela towards the end of the movie is going through the ship destroying all the security cameras so they can't follow her. So I just think that was a smart, funny and smart thing.
I also thought it was kind of funny that they use some of the found footage like elements, like they go back to revisit the camera she had with her. I think that was a cool idea, cool concept, because they could have did the ultimate like funny thing and finished in found footage, like the way they flipped 3, where it's like found footage into like a regular style movie. It would have been kind of funny if they started like a regular movie and finish in found footage, but they didn't. I guess the one thing I didn't like about this is the ending, but I'll go more into that at the spoilers.
So if you need Rec, there is a place that you could get that probably. He may not have it all the time, but if you remember the video store days, then you want to go to a physical media shop to see if it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And where would that be, Jeff?
Well, that'd be if you just go right on down to Jason down in the dungeon?
Jason down at the dungeon, and he actively stated to me that you would probably take him in a wrestling match because he's old. I did tell him about your shoulders, so he might have an advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ric Flair is like 95, still going at it. I think Jason could do it.
So Jason down at the dungeon is a great guy and cool store. Go in and bother him. He loves that. And if you need to know where he's located, it's right here in Maryville, Tennessee, which is just a short drive from Knoxville. That was on The Simpsons, if you remember that.
Yeah, I heard that place was more than Maryville.
We don't say that around here.
We don't acknowledge.
Yeah. It's more money than Maryville, I guess.
Ooh.
So yeah, just hit East Broadway in Maryville, Tennessee. Hit the roundabout, and you'll see Southland Books. And behind that building is Jason, tied up in the dungeon, selling vinyl records, laser discs, beta tapes, VHS, DVD, HD DVD, Blu-rays, video games, tarot cards, and so much more. So if you don't live in the area or don't want to get out of your house like Jeff, I understand. So you can just follow him on Instagram and Facebook, Southland_Dungeon, and he posts everything he gets in. If you see something you like, send him a message on Instagram because he doesn't really understand Facebook. And if you talk to him on Instagram, you can work out a deal and you can get that said item. So we appreciate Jason down at the dungeon. And now is the time if you would like to say goodbye. And like I said earlier, follow us on Night of the Nerdy Laser on social media. And now we're getting into spoilers. So I dig this movie a lot because of that it ties into 3. Because alongside Angela, they brought the grandmother of one of the bride or the grooms. I think the son. I think so. The groom. And then, but she's kind of got like dementia and doesn't really know where she is. She thinks she's lost at the wedding.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a really good thing to add. Like, I mean, I just think it's a really smart way to tie these movies together and it doesn't distract you. You know, it's not like in your face.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So we get new characters. Nick, the like IT guy that's on the ship. We get Guzman, who is kind of the not really romantic lead, but like you can feel like, you know, he's kind of protective of her and, you know, he kind of saved her from the building. But then we find out a secret about him later on.
Okay, he was our main SWAT guy then, right?
Yeah.
And we have 2 SWAT guys. We're introduced to 4 at the beginning, but we get down to 2 real quick.
Yeah, Lewis and Guzman.
Okay.
Yeah, and but apparently, I'm skipping ahead a little bit to the end of the story, but so from what because the whole time I'm like, so is Angela possessed? Because she's not acting like possessed or anything. And it turns out she wasn't, right? Like at the apartment building, I guess it changed from her to Guzman.
Yeah, so that was because I had seen this, I don't know, 2 times before. I think this will be my like 3rd watch, maybe 4th. I don't know. And I was like, I know something happened, but I can't ever remember what happened. And that part feels like a little bit like kind of lazy storytelling because all through the thing, everybody's like, oh, you know, she's fine. But then they're like, oh, no, we found out she's like the major carrier of this thing now. And then they're like, oh, wait, just joking. She's fine. But I don't have a problem with it. It's just kind of a little lazy how she has like a flashback. They do kind of like a flashback scene and she kind of transfers the like Ultra Demon seed thing between him. She's like, no, it was you. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Because they say like, oh, it needed to, when it sees a stronger host, it'll essentially just take that host, Why wouldn't?
But I like that they kind of explained it that way.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but I mean, it's just sort of a little kind of lazy. But I don't have like too big of a problem with it. You know, they could have, for what they do with storytelling in this movie, like they probably could have worked on it a little bit more. But it's fine. It's, you know, I'm not gonna like, you know, tank the movie for it. Like, oh, it's terrible, I don't want to see it.
But you hated it.
No, I don't hate it.
So yeah, this one I do like the fact that it kind of went back to more claustrophobic times. You know, like you said, with the apartment building, and I just really like these movies, man. I think they're really fun. I think they're really good. They're well done. They're well shot, well acted. I mean, I think it's kind of funny that, you know, they tried it with Quarantine, and I mean, the first one, I haven't looked up anything about it yet, but I mean, you know, it didn't do good enough to do a sequel to the theaters, so it did that DVD release. But around that time, you know, Hostel 3 did the same thing, and both those movies kind of, I mean, they weren't great.
That one, don't you?
I hate it. I mean, I do, and I tried to give it a lot of leeway. I mean, now I've only seen it one time.
Yeah,
but I like it. I like the fact that they came to America and that it's set in Las Vegas, and you could tell there's just no budget. There was just no budget.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the biggest thing I remember from that movie is the fact that most of it felt like a Fear Factor episode.
Yeah. I looked it up while you were just saying that. Quarantine had a budget of $12 million. Opening weekend was $14 million, so it made its money back in opening weekend, and then it grossed worldwide $41 million. So even though it made back like 3 or 4 times its money, they were just like, yeah, it's not profitable enough. But
yeah, I mean, a movie has to make like a ton of money, man, for them to really justify a sequel.
And I mean, it's 2007 when that movie came out, so it's like right around Paranormal Activity. So I think they were kind of transitioning away from the zombie stuff in a way for a few years, because it ran its course real heavy in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah,
and then it was going more to, you know, supernatural stuff, and Cloverfield was more found footage stuff. So this fits right in with the timeline on that stuff. But I don't know why it wasn't more successful. It's just kind of where The Crazies came out around that time, another zombie kind of movie. But
yeah,
I don't know, just weird. But yeah, they just didn't pick up a sequel for the wide theater release.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I like I said, I mean, I think there is a way. I think the movie could have continued in the States, but I'm glad it did good. Good enough for 4 movies, and yeah, I just think it's a good and unique franchise. I think they do the sequels very well. I mean, basically in 3, we're all on the ship, and like Jeff said, am I getting darker? My video screen is like,
I think you're okay.
I'm fading out. I'm like Back to the Future, just fading out of life. So we have a doctor on board trying to figure out, you know, everything. And it kind of goes back and forth, like he said, but I didn't mind that. It didn't bother me as much. But I can see where you're at. They introduced the IT character Nick, and he was really good.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Because he's that funny character without being irritating.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
What he did, if you noticed his shirts, he wore like classic movie, like horror and sci-fi shirts.
Yeah.
Like he had a Nosferatu shirt on, and then he had like an old sci-fi shirt on. So I thought that was cool what they did with him.
That is cool. So
also he was kind of a creep. I thought that was kind of funny, like watching her on the camera.
Yeah. So we get into towards the end, well, I mean, we find out that Guzman is the actual thing, and in this one, we don't have a chainsaw; we have a boat motor.
Yeah. That was an interesting choice. It felt like Ash from Evil Dead, the chainsaw hand.
Yeah, it was fun, and yeah, I like the end. So we'll just go with the end where, I mean, apparently the boat. I don't know where this boat was going. They never really said.
No, I think it was just kind of going off the coast so they could continue to explore making a vaccine.
Because they're trying to make a vaccine for it, basically.
For demonic possession still, yeah.
Well, it kind of left the demonic possession, right? Like,
it's still, I don't know. Thing is still technically like the devil or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they moved to it being more of a parasite. I don't know. I mean, I have my, I don't know. I just think, yeah. I think that in the long run, maybe the parasite just made people act like demons. And so that's how the priest got involved.
Well, they still have that. They still have all the religious tying in stuff with like people who are doing stuff for them and all that, and the reasons for trying to come up with this vaccine. So they still focus on the religion aspect, but it feels more like zombie stuff. So it's kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic.
It is. I mean, I think they did it, and then they were like, "Ah, shit."
It feels like 28 days later when people are like, "Oh, the zombies," and they're like, "No, the infected."
Yeah.
Like, okay. And I mean, because they have the monkeys in the cage they're testing on in the ship, and the chef that gets bit by one of the monkeys that gets let out, that we find out the SWAT guy lets out. That guy gets attacked by the monkey, but he gets infected kind of so fast that he just serves everybody the monkey. That was kind of like an easy storytelling mechanism to show how fast the virus spread through the entire crew.
Yeah.
And then when it did that, it was kind of weird to the storytelling gets a little weird because you're like, the doctor still has his like close little group of like 2 or 3 other doctors and like a security team with him. But like they do mention like they were second shift and that's why they didn't get infected, because they stopped them from eating before that point or something like that.
Not everybody ate it.
Right, just the first.
But once they're bit, if you get bit, then you're screwed,
Yeah.
I did like the part where Angela bit the doctor.
Oh, she's like, if I'm infected, so are you. I told.
Well, I mean, she was trying to prove to him that she wasn't.
And he refused to like call off all the guys that were trying to capture her again.
Yeah, so and they were going to do the surgery, and that was weird.
Yeah, but we find out, with that flashback, like I said, that the parasite went into the stronger host, who was the SWAT guy.
Yeah. So the boat, I mean, and it makes sense if, the boat was like armed with this like explosives and it had like basically a button that you push and it blows it up. But it set it to 20 minutes, but it makes sense, to kill everything. So did you hate the very end or did you hate like after the credits?
No, after the credits stuff was fine. I hated that the boat blew up. Super spoiler here, everybody. The boat blows up and then that parasite's just chilling in the water in the ocean and like a barracuda eats it. And I'm like, come on, like end it. I don't need that.
I mean, I don't mind it at all. I mean, I like it. It's fine. I mean, if they didn't do that, I probably would have been mad. I mean, because it's an ending. I mean, like if they never make another one, it doesn't really matter, right? You just know that this thing is never going to stop.
Right.
I mean, I feel like in the next movie, you would see them catch the fish and like cut it up and serve it. And
if you do that, then we're getting cabin fever patient 0 at that point.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not great, but it's not bad. That's a fun little, man, the films aren't good, but like it's a fun little franchise. Because I mean, it was
if we had people that would buy if we had people that would buy shirts, I would make a shirt that said "Never seen it."
You should.
So anyway, yeah, and then I actually don't like the scene after it's not after the main credits, but it's just after like 10 seconds of credits.
Yeah.
Where him and her are riding in a car. Nick and Angela are riding in a car. And I don't really know what the driver, I mean, it just felt very unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because you see them get off the ship.
Yeah, and he's like, crazy party, huh? Or something stupid.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like, what did he didn't pick him up from that wedding. He picked him up like off the beach, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just it. And that part of it bothers me. I feel like it should have been like a helicopter found them, like,
yeah,
or like, it seemed weird. I didn't like that part, but anyway, I think people should check out this quartet, this quadrilogy of rec movies. Do you think people should check it out or just
for sure. No, and I mean, right now, as of when we recorded all these episodes, they're all on Tubi as well as the 2 quarantine movies. And if you were like,
the quarantine movies are too?
Yeah.
They must have just added them because they weren't.
I checked. Let's see. Quarantine. Did they pull them now? Now they're not.
Yeah.
Ooh. So.
Yeah, I know. I bought it over the weekend because I was gonna be like, I'm so pissed if they're on Tubi.
Now I'm gonna go.
But they're on sale right now on Fandango at Home for like $10. $10 for both of them, I think.
Yeah. Oh, look, they added Masters of Horror on Tubi.
Oh, that'd be fun. I haven't seen a whole lot of those.
I think I watched like the first season or whatever. What was the show that came after Masters of Horror? Because it went to a different network and
it went to NBC and it was Fear or something.
Yeah, and Mick Garris was kind of mad about it for some reason. I can't remember.
Doug Jones was in the first episode. Why I remember that, I don't know.
Yeah. It's so weird that they would pull those off when they were on there. Oh well. Yeah, they're for sure not on there. I have
all right. Well,
somewhere. Gotta find them.
What's that?
I have the DVDs of both quarantines. I have to go find them.
Good luck. May the odds forever be in your favor.
It's my show and tell.
All right. So that's it for this episode. We will be back next week with let's see, we got quarantine, so that'll be on a regular night, so quarantine 1 and 2, and then on Halloween we will release the double feature of Scooby-Doo, so that'll be fun too. And then November we'll be here, and we haven't really made a decision of what we're doing, so we'll figure that out, let you know next week. We appreciate everybody listening. Night of the Nerdy Laser at gmail.com is where you can send any comments, any and all comments, movie suggestions, anything you want to that email address, even hate mail, and we'll read it right here on the show. And you can follow us on Night of the Nerdy Laser on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So we appreciate everybody listening. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. And what should they do, Jeff?
They should keep it bloody. Because
somebody has to, and they should find the footage. I don't know. Stupid. You're dumb, Jeff.
Yeah.